Hey, hey, welcome back. All right, so Scorpios, let's take a little peek at the Lionsgate message. So, Lionsgate portal is officially, tomorrow, the 8/8 portal. Although we are already in that energy vibe since about the 26th of last month and moving all the way until the 10th or 12th of this month. This is where we have Sirius, the dog star, in alignment with the Earth, with Orion's belt, and with the Sun. So I look at it as like a channel, like a doorway of, like streaming light or energy coming in. So what is that bringing forth, right? An upgrade, some energy from the cosmos. Let's take a look. So we start out with Scorpio with the Judgment card right out of the gate and the Six of Swords. The divine is definitely playing a big role in helping Scorpio get out of a really sticky situation, something that has been either unpleasant or heavy hearted or difficult. It's like it's time for Scorpio to kind of like have their heart feel lighter and brighter now. We do see this backdrop of this very, beautiful desert sky with a, huge sandstorm and lightning. And I have to say, there's like a lot of energy around right now, but it's also the energy of I'm crying my last cry. I feel like Scorpio could have a really cathartic final cry, and that could be like all of a sudden they just feel lighter. They feel like something really heavy left them, like maybe an energetic cord is going to be finally severed, or maybe we'll see. We have a Knight of Wands and we have the Fool card. I keep feeling um like I have this visual of, like when runners are trying to practice running against resistance. So they put like one of those harnesses on and they're running and it's like got a bungee and it's got weights attached to it. So, they have to run against huge resistance. I think that's what's been going on. Scorpios had this huge resistance weight placed upon them. And I'm talking like an emotional weight, right? But it's being severed during this energy. And it's like, oh my gosh, I feel so good now. I feel like I could do anything. I feel like I could practically float. I could fly. I could, like in this case, she got her arms up, power pose, just feeling amazing, feeling attractive again, feeling like there's new hope. I don't know if Scorpio's actually been protected from a relationship with the wrong person, even though maybe that's not how it felt initially. And sometimes it can be really sad when it's like, but I wanted to be with so and so. How come it's not working out? Sometimes it's all for the best that something doesn't work out. We have this Three of Wands here. That Three of Wands is all about the future. I feel like this Lionsgate portal, it's like the universe comes in and snips that, like I said, that harness or that leash that's been, tethered around Scorpio for a while, and it cuts them loose, and now Scorpio is free to run and leap and enjoy life again and look at their future. I don't know what this was, but man, it was painful, and that pain lasted for quite a while. I feel like things were like a blur for Scorpio for a while, a blur of, sorrow or sadness. Maybe they were hoping to reconcile with somebody. Maybe they were waiting for someone to reconcile with them who, didn't. Maybe they were Two of Cups along with the Devil. Look, I don't know that I would necessarily say that a relationship is done over and never going to be back in Scorpio's life, but I am going to say the toxic chapter of this is what Scorpio is freeing themselves from. If there was a love story where Scorpio was head over heels for someone and they felt the same way about Scorpio, but they were still tangled up with a karmic, I mean, that's really painful to see somebody stuck where they're at when it's like, but they love me. How could they be tangled up someplace else when there's me? If that was what Scorpio was like really frustrated over, really feeling pain over, how is it that my person is somebody else's, in some other nightmare with somebody else? How is that possible? And if that was causing Scorpio great grief, that grief is is going to stop. That feeling of freedom that comes in now. Let me just ask, how is the Lion's Gate bringing this in? We see that little angel of divinity coming in. Five of Swords. Five of Swords, again with the lightning strikes. We actually have two people both walking away. We've got the Eight of Swords in the reverse. Okay, look, I'm not going to try to intentionally tarnish anything here, but it almost feels like if somebody that Scorpio cared about was still tangled up in another relationship elsewhere, or staying in something toxic because of money, because of a job, because, whatever. We have heaps of money here. We have, this woman in red. We have somebody being puppeted. We have what's on somebody's mind is yin yang energy. They want balance, obviously want balance and healing with their Two of Cups, but they're still very trapped. It almost feels like something with this Five of Swords. You notice we have two feminines walking away. I wonder if somewhere around this Lion's Gate, Scorpio just senses for themselves, I no longer feel like I'm trapped waiting for someone else who's trapped. I don't know what just happened, but I feel calmer. I feel more peaceful. I feel like I see the break in the storm. I feel like feelings were really emotional and really highly charged for quite a while. And it's like during this Lion's Gate, our character that we're describing, our Scorpio character, suddenly has a sense of like peace and calm. And I think it's because there's change afoot. Now, first and foremost, Scorpio is no longer stuck thinking about this person. They're no longer stuck thinking about this person who's stuck. They're no longer wondering about this person who's stuck. Now, what's crazy is it might be because they're no longer stuck with that either. They may have been going through an upheaval. It's like the tension breaks. I'm literally picturing like a big heavy chain, and sometimes the the links on a chain will, like, one will give way, and it's like, oh my gosh, it just detached, and all that tension that was there for so long just suddenly is broken. Like, that's how this feels. But ironically, I think Capricorn is feeling the tension that they have carried, just kind of like, oh my God, it feels like something came in and set me free from this. Well, that's maybe the energy of the divine. Maybe Capricorn, excuse me, Scorpio asked the divine to help free them. I'm sorry, I just did a Capricorn video this evening, and so I'm wondering, Scorpio, if that's why I want to say Capricorn, or if it's just because the devil is there, or maybe our Scorpio was dealing with a Capricorn, or that was the ex or something. But it just feels like maybe Scorpio asked the divine, help me emotionally let go of this thing that bothers me so much about, someone who I feel like loves me. I love them, but they're still tangled up with someone else. Help me to release this. How do I release this? And it's like the universe answers by saying, there's a break in the storm. Every storm has a break in it. This is a lot of emotions, but how about if you just pause and you say, now, wait a second. If somebody is stuck, and they are the ones who have to get themselves unstuck, let them do that. There isn't anything for Scorpio to do. All of a sudden, Scorpio gets to just let this tension go because it isn't theirs to deal with. All of a sudden, it's like maybe the divine says, Scorpio, you're not stuck. You're not even involved in someone else's stuck energy. You have all the freedom in the world. What would you like to do, Scorpio? Oh, I'd like to go do things I care about. Okay, so where would you like to go? Oh gosh, I have all these plans. Okay, there's no reason for Scorpio not to just move ahead into clear blue skies. Be grateful that we're not stuck in a mess the way they are. Be grateful that we're not being puppeted like they are. All of a sudden, Scorpio doesn't have to make this person's struggles their struggles. And I think that's the huge sense of freedom and reconciling with, wait a minute, they're stuck, but I'm not. I'm not trapped anywhere. I can go anywhere I want. I can travel. Heck, I could date other people. I might fall in love with somebody else. Nobody has claim to me. I'm a sovereign individual. That mindset is so awesome for Scorpio right now. I really think Scorpio was stressing for a period of time in this story because first they were stuck thinking about somebody else that was stuck and feeling like they were missing out. How come that person who's stuck can't give to me? Why are they staying stuck instead of giving to me? Instead of realizing, wait a second, Scorpio is the one character in all this who isn't stuck at all. Scorpio has all the power here. Scorpio is our strongest player in this drama. Scorpio holds all the cards. And that is an amazing mindset shift. Oh, wait a second. I'm free. I can go anywhere, do anything. Oh, I like this now. My life has plenty of avenues to explore. My life is unwritten chapters of adventures, and I could date anybody. I know it's hard to say that if Scorpio's like, no, I love that one person. But this storyline is giving us a whole different perspective on the concept of, like feeling sad or trapped because somebody else that we love is, being puppeted elsewhere. They have to cut their own ties, right? They have to, sever their own puppet strings themselves and choose not to be puppeted anymore. But in the meantime, Scorpio's not missing out on anything with them, because if they haven't done that yet, they probably aren't really independent enough to be Scorpio's person. They're, man or woman. So right now, Scorpio's free of this. And this Lionsgate is like opening up Scorpio's eyes to like their huge amount of freedom that they actually possess. This is so exciting. Mastery of Coins. Look, I know Scorpio was holding space for a particular person, but there may be somebody else that's a better match for Scorpio. We may have, this is actually King of Pentacles, even though I know there's a queen there. We've got this frog that says sometimes we kiss a lot of toads before we find our prince or princess. I'm wondering if Scorpio is going to realize that the person they were holding so much space for, that was so tangled up, who admittedly could be having their own breakup moment. They could suddenly become single. They may not be puppeted anymore, but neither is Scorpio. This is all a flood of new opportunity and a flood of like brand new way to see things. And this is definitely a sense of freedom, right? This Action of Swords, this is sudden incoming. This is like a life Scorpio never dreamed they would have. I think Scorpio could meet somebody new almost immediately. This new person could be somebody Scorpio meets when they take a little vacation, a little trip by themselves. They go someplace near a lake or ocean. Maybe it's a big trip, maybe it's a cruise, or maybe it's something, not too far away. But it just feels like Scorpio is having that time of their life all of a sudden. This Lionsgate like propels Scorpio to do something that they would not normally have done for themselves, to go exploring, to think of themselves as single, to think of themselves as, who knows what my future will be. It's exciting to know that it doesn't have to be, I'm stuck waiting for somebody who's stuck with someone else. That's not what my life story is. And that's not what my future necessarily holds. Maybe I'll see that person again. Maybe I won't. In the meantime, I'm going to do something I haven't done for myself. I'm going to take myself out on a little trip. I'm going to do some stuff that I care to do. And lo and behold, Scorpio could meet somebody new, somebody that they were supposed to meet, somebody that brings in another option for Scorpio. It's like, wow, I never considered this. I never considered meeting a King of Pentacles. By the way, King of Pentacles can be somebody who has a lot of money. Oftentimes they're very generous and they're very stable. Eight of Swords in the reverse, and there's no hindrance on them. I mean, this is somebody who could invite Scorpio to travel with them. Very suddenly they could start dating Scorpio almost, practically seemingly overnight. They, one day Scorpio doesn't know them, and then Scorpio meets them, and it's like, wow, my life just changed on a dime. All of a sudden, this person who's very affluent, who doesn't have the same limitations put on them, like the world is open to me in ways I never expected. I didn't know that I would meet somebody like this King of Pentacles. I really feel like this is the difference between going from being stuck to having nothing that is hindering at all. And again, we got that Scorpio energy. We got the Death card. I'm going to say that this is a turning point in Scorpio's whole life. It doesn't mean that they won't still love that person from the past, but I think Scorpio is moving on from a Two of Cups. Even if this Two of Cups person gets themselves single and free, has an upheaval or an ending with someone that they have been stuck with, puppeted by some toxic connection that they've been in, even if they have an ending, now I still kind of look at this and I say, but Scorpio might be seeing a new person, not their Two of Cups, but instead that King of Pentacles as a new, option for the way Scorpio's life could go. And they never saw anybody before on their horizon other than waiting for that Two of Cups. It's got to be that Two of Cups. It's got to be that Two of Cups. That's not how Scorpio looks at it anymore. And now this could be very serendipitous. Now that Scorpio sees somebody else and is thinking about somebody else, that's when that Two of Cups person might suddenly become free or have a big, extra overhaul of their life. I don't know if Scorpio will be able to see this person in the same light again, that Two of Cups person. There's change going on for Scorpio. Scorpio is fundamentally shifting and changing. I think they'll always love that Two of Cups person, but I think the Scorpio is recognizing that there are other people we can love in this life who we can have great happiness with and a totally different life story with. Maybe the life that we're actually more like Scorpio is being upgraded. Scorpio is energetically upgrading themselves right now by setting themselves free. And they in turn are not the same person that they used to be when they loved that Two of Cups. Even if they still love that Two of Cups in some way, that might not be the person they would ever choose again as a partner. That's some pretty significant changes going on in our Scorpios, like innermost thoughts or their heart. So, to put it simply, I think Scorpio is realizing you can love somebody and not end up with them, and you can love somebody else instead, and it's a way better match. It's a way better fit, and it's actually more sincere, and it's less stress, and it's greater freedom, and it's greater happiness with someone else, even though you thought, oh, but that other person I'll always love unconditionally, but I wouldn't want to go back to them. Like, that's how this looks to me. And it's a very big, thunderclap of a change for Scorpio in this storyline during this Lionsgate. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up.